California does these things and they sound insane, but they're actually helping people as opposed to landlords. And that's the difference.
We are on We Fixed Real Estate with Fred Glick and René Pérez. We have a kind of a special episode today. We decided to turn to our friendly AI agents to scour the internet and come up with the latest, hottest topics shaping California real estate in 2025. And according to ChatGPT, the number one topic for April of 2025 is new California laws that are reshaping the landlord-tenant dynamics, such as security deposit deductions, rental payment reporting, and fee transparency. Fred, tell me about this.
What's really funny is I go through these TikToks and I see all these guys say, here's the way you want to buy rental property. Only buy them in red states. The regulations in the blue states, they're insane. The rental restrictions, insane. The limits of what you can charge, insane. But California does these things and they sound insane, but they're actually helping people as opposed to landlords. And that's the difference. So here's the thing. Everybody's experienced this. They go and they move from a property and a landlord. They move 3 states away and the landlord sends them this report. René knows this very well. We had to pay, we had to change this, we had to do that, you left this dirt, and they had no proof. They didn't need to prove it. But this year things changed. It's like, if you want to deduct anything, you better have, a full video and a camera and time stamped and everything, and it better be right, because you can't deduct anything without showing it.
Yes. Photographic evidence now. But that ties along with the Arrivva, with been trying to bring transparency back into the real estate market. So for me, this seems like a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, we're on the side of the buyers and sellers. There's no doubt about it. We don't care about the industry and all the crap they want to do. What's interesting in the realtors have always said, and this has been for years, that their number one thing is to help home ownership. But that includes investors. And investors and homeowners are kind of contrary things. And then you get down to a tenant level, they're not there to protect tenants, getting them to do rentals. So it's, pick a side and be honest about it.
Yeah.
And, that kind of thing. So this is what we do. And instead of, having beautiful videos and pictures of us being in beautiful locations and telling about how great we are now, we resident this area for 42,000 years, have 7 dogs, and give us your value. You're not worth 2.5% on a couple $1 million listing. I mean, it's just no.
The second point there is actually that rental payment reporting. Whereas previously you get dinged if you failed to pay your rent, but you really didn't get any positive kudos score payment history. And now tenants must be offered the option of their positive rental payments reported to credit agencies.
Right. But the landlord's allowed to charge from, I think it's $5 to $17 to be able to put you into this. There's someone on that number, but they charge you for it. So, I mean, if you're on Built credit card, they report you for your payments, so you don't have to do it through the landlord, and it's free. Built's a great card. I'm not getting any money from them, but you pay your rent on it, and basically they set up a bank account to wire in your MasterCard or Visa payment. And the good thing about that is that it costs nothing, and they probably do an ACH, so it probably costs you next thing nothing. Wells Fargo has been complaining about they're losing money with it. It's still all the Built points and the Built reporting. I mean, it's free. So,
well, I mean, getting a Built card, nice and great if you're able to. Now, if you're in your early 20s, I mean, back when I was in my early 20s, I got like 10 credit cards, right? Easy. I applied to something and they would give it to me. These days, if you're in your early 20s and you try to apply to anything, if you can't prove that you have an extensive credit history, you're not going to get the credit card. I've seen plenty of my friends who just don't get the credit card. So even though it's a nice incentive, the people who actually need it are not going to get those work.
I mean, of course, but instead you're going to have to pay your landlord clean $5 to $18 or whatever it is. So
yeah.
I just had to look this up. To those people that don't know what this is, it's the BILT credit card that allows you to earn points on rent and through your credit card.
Yeah.
Go to builtrewards.com.
So there's a few different options. Built is probably the best one that's around that I've seen. I also don't get paid for it. You probably should get paid for it as a little referral there. A little riff.
that up an affiliate link quickly.
Sure. One thing that I wanted to mention about the new rental laws is that apart from not only verifying the damages at the end of the lease, part of the new law is that you actually have to, before you rent out the unit, you have to provide images of what the unit looked like before, right? So it's like, it sucks because the real estate agent, and this is something that, when Fred and I were looking into hiring agents, we were like, okay, well, maybe we can get the new agents to work on leases, right? But the problem is that there isn't really any money on the on leasing. Because let's say that the typical rate for me to help you find a rental, okay, well, I'm going to help you if you give me a month's rent, right? Or maybe even a half month's rent. Well, even in San Francisco, let's say I'm helping you find a $4,000 place. One, are you as a consumer going to want to pay me $4,000? But two, if I am helping you look at 50 rentals and you keep losing on the rentals, are you, as an agent, do you really want to work on those deals? It kind of doesn't really work out, right? So you would have a lot of the maybe new agents who are inexperienced helping you get rentals, but also the consumer not wanting to pay. So what ends up happening in the rental market is you don't get a lot of the assistance on how to get a place. And if you're young and you're inexperienced, well, guess what? You go to a rental property and you don't realize that, oh, I should take pictures of X, Y, and Z. I should document that things are broken. So there isn't really like someone out there watching over you. I mean, even if you're like a college student, right? Sometimes you're going from the East Coast to West Coast and you're just lost in that kind of sense. So, a lot of landlords take advantage of the consumer not knowing, the same way with that agents taking advantage of consumers that don't know what they're doing. So now that's what's happening, right? You're fixing the rental market in that aspect. And it's transparent, right?
I want to just talk generically about the rental market. I mean, when you say to yourself, hey, I want to rent an apartment or I want to rent a house, where do you go? There's no place to just go because you have 52 million websites that claim to, have great rentals, but you're going to miss some because you don't go to another site. And it's not the old days where we could do a thing where we just scrub everything, and put it on one data point. So you have to go to 7, 8, 9 different sites to find things because there's property management companies out there that only put their stuff on their site. Smaller ones, that they don't know how to do it. Then there's the bigger companies that are syndicating everywhere. You got to think about that. And that's goes right with your thing about service. And would you pay, going to a new city, would you pay, let's say, $2,000 to have one person be like your concierge, your rental concierge, where they, they get appointments. Maybe you restrict the number of appointments. We'll show you, we'll do video appointments with you. We can go around and do that. Save the videos so you have them for later for somebody else who might want to look at something similar. It kind of gives you an idea of the grade of it. There's a business for younger people getting into this business to do this rental concierge business. And then you have, you can arrange for people to do repairs, people to come in and paint, go through our Thumbtack link where you get $15 off the first service.
But see, that's why I hate commissions. That's why the commission system should be broken because, hey, I'm a new agent. So are you saying like, okay, if I'm a new agent, who gets paid $2,000? Is it at the beginning of me helping you look for a place?
Okay, so let's put it with our Arrivva brain. Hey, it's a flat fee. It's due the earlier of when you sign a lease, or let's say 60 days. Maybe that's the model.
Sure.
I don't
Like,
know. I'm just throwing it out.
Am I no? And I'm also so I'm talking from the viewpoint of like, let's say I'm a new agent, right? Or just in general. I mean, I'm just I'm just trying to expose like why could the commissions should be abolished and people should be paid by the hour, right? Which I think will one day happen. No, but so these agents that are new and because there's so many different sites, you as like if I'm looking for a rental, like yeah, I'm using someone, but let's say that I find out that in Craigslist I find a rental and I just find it myself.
Mhm.
Now that person that has been helping you, look at 20 different units and recording videos, now that person doesn't even get the $2,000. Why would I?
Well, here's the thing. No, because this person has to do everything. Meaning, hey, you found something on Craigslist, but you're going to give it to your agent because your agent's going to check things out for you. They're going to make sure the owner of the property is really the owner of the property, or the one who's advertising it. They may even see if there's any spoofs against it. They're working for you as an advocate.
Mhm.
So, like a buyer broker does, this is a rental broker. I'm inventing a new job title, and if anybody really is interested here in doing it in California or Washington, hey, I mean, we can develop this together. But the idea is complete service for a flat fee. Yes, it's quote unquote a luxury item because it's it's going to take time. But for those who don't have the time to do it, it just might work for them. Somebody who understands the neighborhoods, the commutes, and what does this person like? Oh, you don't want to be down there. You want to be closer to here if you're going to go out and party every night. And here's the best pizza pop. It's more of you're getting a local guide / agent / investigator / just, first new friend in the city. So there's a market for it. I don't think it's massive.
Oh, I think
But
it
there's
is.
the market to develop this kind of a situation. And also a second thing I was going to bring up, flipping back to what we were talking about with photos.
Mhm.
So now you have to decide as a property manager, are you going to do this internally? Also, how are you going to keep track of them?
Mhm.
You gotta organize it in files and dates and time stamping. Is this something you can do? If you're a big company and you've got a lot of stuff going on, and your internal guys, you want to use them fixing things, not taking pictures, but have a company that sets up that has a flat fee. There I go with my flat fee again, to
Mhm.
come in and take pictures the day before somebody moves in and to take pictures the day after somebody moves out, and they're just on call and you just go to there. You just have the assignment, you're paid X, and that's another thing. Or make a deal with the property management company. You're charging them a flat fee. You still could do some storage. You can even make a website for it. One-page site.
Definitely something to consider if you're looking to buy a second income or rental property. I mean, you've got to keep things a little more in order than you might have previously.
If you live in LA and you own a house in Salinas, you're not going to come up there just to take the pictures. Probably have a property management company, but worst case is hire somebody to take pictures. Another reason.
Well, I think the bottom line is that done are the days of like, hey, I watched a TikTok or a reel. Let me just become an investor. Is you probably should talk to a professional so that they tell you what you're missing in terms of the regulations that exist. Especially,
Okay,
even if you're in a red state. Yeah.
You just reminded me of something that was driving me crazy today on TikTok. This guy has this spreadsheet and he's just going through the spreadsheet. But the beginning is, you could buy this 12-unit apartment building and here's the numbers, and he buys them in really, really bad markets. He forgets to tell you the reason these things are so cheap is because they have a tough time finding renters who are able to pay decent amounts of money. So he's forgetting all that and telling you about the market, but here's the numbers and you can get your money back within 2 years. That's why we need real estate commissions to shut this stuff down. They're literally hacking properties they don't own. They're showing you a technique, but they really are showing you an existing property and they're not licensed. It's getting out of hand.
Yeah. I agree. And we're going to move to topic number 2. And I actually did
Oh, good.
I did a little reverse-a-roo on you. So that was actually the third most timely topic, according to ChatGPT, for flat fee California-centric real estate topics. Number 1 most relevant topic in April of 2025: tariffs, supply chains, and California housing. The 2025 construction cost crunch. To put some background here, in March of 2025, the administration introduced new tariffs on construction materials such as lumber, steel, and aluminum. And these tariffs are potentially significantly increasing the cost of building in California, leading to a slowdown. So given the heightened expense and they're causing builders to delay projects, and potential home buyers are facing higher prices, how can flat fee real estate models offer relief to buyers and sellers? Use your rebate to help fund some of the improvements that might be higher now.
No. I look at it completely different. That's why I couldn't look at that today. This is the chance for alternative methods of building to start. I mean, so you can't get lumber from Canada because it's too expensive. Well, guess what, kiddies? We have the technology already.
What I was going to say in terms of tariffs is people seem to think that, I think in the last 4 days, we've had people say, oh, well, I think the market is slowing down, and with tariffs, there's going to be less buyers. Ironically, every single one of those buyers is like, hey, I'm going to write an offer on this property. So there's that disconnect of, oh, I'm the only one that's going to make an offer on the property. The tariffs are affecting it. So I think there's that kind of mentality right now when the reality is that the tariffs are not affecting the big markets of Bay Area, Seattle, Los Angeles. The money's still there. And yes, NVIDIA is down to like $90, but before the split, it would be like at the $5 or $10 mark, right? So the appreciation is still there. So people are still with enough money.
Now there's the Chinese made those advanced chips. That'll hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other part is it does, according, so I actually asked ChatGPT how flat fee real estate can help in this rising cost. And basically it says it creates a constant. Whereas a traditional model, rising commissions based on the home sale price, this kind of detaches the real estate transaction from these rising costs.
We do a lot of new construction, especially with this one builder, and they are pretty high end and pretty high price, but they want to offer us, and I think they're down to 2%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, fine, we'll take it. So you got a $4 million house from them. That's $80,000 my way. And you're getting over $70,000 back on a new construction house from us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to do that. But I don't know if you heard me before, but what I was trying to say is I'm looking forward to this as a way for the world to reinvent itself on how they build houses. This is the time 3D cement built houses, 3D machines are going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. The whole method's going to get better of how it works. And we don't need the lumber anymore.
Mm-hmm. Of course, innovation, which is great.
Yeah, this may bring on a lot of innovation in a lot of places.
And this segues just perfectly into the number 2 hottest topic, according to AI, which is wildfires, insurance in the real estate market, California's growing crisis, and how are these rising insurance costs affecting home affordability in high-risk areas.
Right now, Fair Plan is basically the way most single families in these higher areas are getting covered. We suggested to someone to look in the hills, Oakland Hills and Berkeley, the hills up there. But told them in advance, your fire insurance is going to be insane, but the prices have come down enough, because these people can't sell the houses. It's not in a great school district and all that. So this is more, more secluded, more deep. I mean, it's gorgeous up there. But, it's not like your single families in Cupertino. They're still going to be a little expensive, but they're not going to be as insane as somebody up at, in, what's the name of that town, Santa Cruz? It's up in the
Outland?
hills. No, not along the water, but
Scotts Valley area.
yeah, Scotts Valley. Yeah, we have a client looking down there now, and they're only able to get fair plan, and it's pretty expensive because there's a lot of trees that can burn. It's the problem. Another thing. So before you even let me give you the absolute gospel. Before you put an offer on any house, you have to make sure that the insurance is doable. And go the extra step. Don't just do an online thing. Yeah, we'll insure it. You have to talk to someone, say, hey, here's the address. Are you sure it can be done? So
Isn't the mortgage company involved in that? Because they've got to be sure that you can have enough insurance to cover the loan.
Yeah, that's why you got to get insurance. I mean, you can buy a house for cash and not get insurance.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. But if you are fully underwritten and pre-approved, it doesn't mean you're fully pre-approved for that particular home if you can't get insurance.
Exactly. Because they've approved you. They haven't approved the property, which is the property itself. They do an appraisal. They want to make sure it's decent, livable, and if it can be insured, because the insurance has to be written in a certain way. There's certain minimum standards. The bank has to be shown as, that they have their lien recorded and the insurance company knows it. To put it in simple terms, it's important. The worst case is you do a contract and you do a contingency for insurance. And some of the agreements are written that a contingency for insurance not to exceed an amount of. And that's something you can always add.
That's a good pro tip. I mean, if you're worried about it, we always talk about contingencies and waiving them all, but that may be one you want to think twice about waiving, especially if you're in a high risk area.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, anywhere in the country, I tell you to do this, just because we don't know what's in the brains of the insurance companies in the area, and who knows?
Yeah, it could be fire here. It could be a floodplain. It could be, on the side of a cliff.
Exactly. Or it could be in a nice, flat, suburban community, and there might be some underwater streams you don't know about. And I have no idea.
You never know.
Get a good insurance person.
So in April 2025, that was the top 3 topics. We're going to revisit this every month or two and see.
Oh, this is good. Here's a question for anybody still listening to this. And you can put it in the comments of wherever you are, or email us at clients@arrivva.com, 2 R's, 2 V's. We're trying to sort of develop our own feed of listings, like Redfin and Zillow and Century 21 and all that. And we want to know what you really look for besides the basic information and the pictures, because everybody does that. We want to, have the walk score, the school scores, the sound score, and we're thinking about doing something with mortgages, like make it real, tie it into today's mortgage rate, as to what it's really going to cost you if you're locked in today with insurance. Somewhere we get an API for insurance rates, that would be great. We're looking into all this. We don't have this, and the real estate taxes 1.25%, and if there's a mellow rooms, be able to put it in there. So we're trying to do things like that so you can get some real numbers. And also a click to make an appointment through us. Because it might be on open house, you'll be able to tell, but if you need a private appointment, you'll click through to us, but we still have to talk to the other listing agent. So but unfortunately, there'd be no way to do it. Anyway, what more would you possibly want on a listing? We would love to publicly put all the disclosures. That's one of our things. But that's the whole industry and privacy and all that kind of stuff. But at least a link for the public to get the disclosures without having to get them from or through an agent. So when we list a property, we have its own website, and on that website, you can, as a consumer, make an appointment. We do have some restrictions. We're going to ask you for proof that you are who you are, and these are just for the empty homes. and be able to click on a link that you can register and then receive all the disclosures, all the inspections, just like a real estate agent would do for you. But we like giving it straight to the public. We don't care who downloads it. You have to put that you're a buyer or an agent, you register that way. That would be great.
What about like social listening tools like Nextdoor or something where you get a kind of a litmus test of the neighborhood?
Yeah, you see, as agents, we're not allowed to talk about the neighborhood itself. It's safe, but some kind of neighborhood, a link to something.
Yeah, because that is third party data. You're just pulling in the neighborhood zeitgeist of that area.
Right.
Like a social network.
And a link to hoodmaps.com. That's my favorite. René found that one somewhere.
What's hood maps, René?
Hood maps is, one of the.
Go to it and put it up on the screen. Come on.
You don't want to discriminate, right? Because discrimination is a really, really bad thing that happens in our industry. But at the same time, if you're moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, where do I mean? Well, hood maps actually markets the microclimate of that section of town.
Yes. So I got my area here. Then north of me is only speak Spanish. Right above that's teen pregnancy. Then we have bland suburbia. Oh, they cut it down real. Jazz in the park. Grannies get down.
It's pretty funny,
It shows the things that that have been gentrified, things like that. I don't know how up to date this website is. I mean,
yeah. Well, okay. So back when my friend Jeremy was in college, he was actually on my hockey team at Wharton. He was in Wharton undergrad, and I played for the Wharton hockey team. So what we developed together, he did the tech, and I came in with helping him somehow, is we made a heat map from Craigslist. We exported all the rentals from Craigslist and figured out the location and took the location versus the price. So basically, if it was red, that was the really cheap rentals, and the purple was the really expensive rentals.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see if you were moving to a town, you didn't know where was allegedly good to live and quote unquote safe. This kind of gave you an idea. So we've come a long way with data. He's like the head of something at Palantir. Okay, you can find him on my LinkedIn. But he's a Penguins fan, so
I definitely link hood maps.
Hood maps.
Now you know.
Round of questions.
Those are the top three. We tackled them and more. So I'm gonna say that this was the last episode. Not the last. This was the late that we just finished this episode. We are now ending.
I want Drew's greatest hits this week. This is it. We have enough.